Yo, it's Zero, and this is What If Naruto, well, had a time kick at Genkai or had access to time magic. This what if, or video, or movie, you could say, was primarily made due to how much I enjoy the Black Clover series and how much has just been revealed in their last chapter for a little bit, as the manga won't be continuing for quite some time. I think about 6 months. But regardless of that, I do want to incorporate it into Naruto, as I do enjoy this character a lot. Julius Novachrono is the main inspiration for this video, so I hope you all do enjoy. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you do want me to continue doing Movie Mondays and you do like this type of content. Also, subscribe to my second channel, join my Discord, and find out my intro music, which is down below, all in the description. So, without any more wait at all, let's get started.
Let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Yo, bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most. I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me. Niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers. And you know 30K got the mop. Sacked up, yeah, I got them knots. Act up, get your body in a box. Told the demon, you know how I rock.
Let's start with the younger Naruto, who enjoys, all types of chakra natures in Kekkei Genkai, as that's what he chooses to study for most of his time. Since he truly doesn't have access to his own, he studies other ones and learns more about the ninja world as a whole, finding out more keys to the Sharingan, the Byakugan, and even some other unknown dojutsu that have been listed, such as the Ketsuryugan and even the Rinnegan to some extent. Naruto enjoyed all types of chakra natures as well, as he just studied the ninja world, as all of it intrigued him. However, there was also something deep within Naruto, a power that was lost to this world and could now be unlocked through the finding of an old coverless book within the library. Naruto would hold it up as there had no cover, so he looked around for it, but there was no title or anything that described the book. It was just blank pages. This was weird to him, but he decided to keep it. Yeah, he stole the book because it intrigued him. Maybe he could just write his own book within it. Naruto would go home back to his apartment, and when he went to sleep, he had a strange dream. In his dream, he was approached by something. No, it seemed like someone. It was a version of himself, you could say. One with dark black hair. Instead of blue, he had red eyes. He seemed a little angered at the world. How could it be so unfair to him? Why? Why was everything in the favor of everyone else? All the other clans had many powerful abilities, but Naruto had nothing. This clone or version of Naruto that calls himself Minma would then convey all of these ideas to Naruto, as he would begin speaking to him on a daily basis, and Naruto would start to agree with many of the things. However, he had his own philosophies that would guide him in the direction of the light. However, Naruto did have some dreams where he was using an unknown power. It was as if he was controlling time of a certain area by using an orb that had different Roman numerals on it. This was so confusing to him, but he understood it as a dream, and it was nothing more than that. Until one day, he saw a cat falling from a building. As he was as he was too far to even reach it, he would stick out his hand, trying to remember what that feeling was within his dream, as he then heard the voice of Minma. Time magic. Time Kekkei Genkai, which your world would call it. Naruto's eyes would then glow red for this moment, as an orb would appear around the cat, as it would then freeze in time. Naruto recognized this as the power within his dream, and would release the orb, allowing the time on the cat to continue, as it would still hit the ground and die due to the impact. Naruto was very confused until he began to speak to Minma more and more, as the two realized how similar they were. Years go by as Naruto trains with the help of Minma to unlock, well, his full control over his time magic, you'd say. And he's actually learned a lot of spells that I will be making up here as we go. Naruto easily passes the Genin exams by using his Kekkei Genkai. Well, that's what the leaf classifies it as, but we know what it is. Naruto. Actually, let's go over this too. The night of the Genin exams, Naruto was watching the moon, and he was holding up his hand while his grimoire was floating around him. He wondered if he could just put a time orb around the whole world and freeze its time and go somewhere else for a little bit to try and escape Minma. But he knew there was no use, as Minma would soon reappear. They did have a battle about a year ago, and Naruto was the victor, as that's what he believed. But he didn't believe that Minma was dead, as Minma seems to be a version of himself that he has no control over. Naruto wondered when he would reappear, but he couldn't think of that, as someone would dash by him as he sat on a rooftop. This person was Mizuki, who then had the scroll of sealing on his back. As he tried to jump to another building, he froze suspended in the air as Naruto would slowly walk towards him. Naruto would then reach inside the orb, taking the scroll from his back and placing it on his own, as he would then look at Mizuki, and his eyes would start to glow. Well, the blue glow in them would start to show, and it's illuminated by the moonlight, as the time on Mizuki is then sped up to a high degree, as he becomes very old, and then even older, as his flesh starts to rot, and then he decays away inside of this orb, and so do his bones, as Naruto has basically just erased him, or erased his existence. He then returns the scroll back to the Hokage's office, and the next day, let's make a different Team 7 here. The next day, Naruto is assigned to Team 7, as he was the top rookie in the class, and he's assigned on Team 7 along with Sakura, and let's go with an oddball here. Sakura and Shino. The three of them would wait in the classroom for the sensei to arrive, and Naruto would be spacing out. He's pretty intrigued by Shino's bug magic, but he doesn't really understand how it works, and he knows he could defeat him by using his time magic. Time magic wasn't the only thing that Naruto was limited to, as his time magic also allowed for him to use spatial manipulation, as he could kind of teleport into small distances by increasing the time on his body and moving fast to where the human eye couldn't see unless you did have a dojutsu. But to the naked eye, it seemed as if Naruto would teleport. When Kakashi arrived, he looked at his team, and he looked at Naruto, seeing Minato within the sun, as he would ask them to go to the roof. And many of the things said would still be the same, as I do believe this Naruto would have an even stronger desire to be the Hokage. After this is over, Kakashi tells them where to meet the next day, as they would all arrive there the next morning. Naruto was there first, then Sakura, then Shino, as the three of them would begin talking. Naruto, he learns things about his teammates. He learned some of the things they like, and he can obviously tell how strong they are just by looking at them. That's how advanced he is here. Naruto is also a lot smarter thanks to his time magic, as he's able to just speed through a lot of the things he needs to learn by freezing time or speeding it up on his enhancements within his brain. When Kakashi does arrive, he explains the bell test, and Naruto smiles, taking this as his first test, or his first real one, as Kakashi is a Jonin ninja, so if Naruto is able to defeat him, his logic is that he can be promoted to at least a Chunin by this act. Naruto goes in by himself, and Kakashi easily goes to stop him, but as his hand was about to connect with the head of Naruto, Naruto vanished, speeding up the time on himself and then appearing behind Kakashi, punching him in his jaw. Kakashi is then sent skidding on the ground by this powerful blow by Naruto, who just stands there. His other two teammates are amazed by this, and Shino tries to back up Naruto by sending bugs at Kakashi that could be quite poisonous and that do have paralysis effects. And Sakura runs in throwing kunai, but Kakashi's easily able to avoid all of these attacks by jumping back and gaining distance between the three of them, as they were now in a triangle-like pattern while surrounding him. As Naruto looked at both of his teammates and would smile, thinking that this is the first time he's actually get to use his time ability to help others. Naruto then speeds up the time on his two teammates as well, as they would all rush Kakashi together, and Kakashi would actually be caught off guard by the speed of the other two. But he was prepared for Naruto, so he's easily able to dodge, and here he's actually required to lift up his Sharingan to dodge Shino and Sakura, as their speed was increased to a higher multiplier than Naruto's, as Naruto did this to catch Kakashi off guard, which did work to an extent. But the Jonin sensei wasn't going to go down easy, as he creates a mud wall to block off their vision and then goes underground while leaving a clone above ground. Naruto can easily tell that this is a clone, and he actually goes towards the clone and places it in a time orb. As this clone sits in a time orb, Naruto then, he looks at it, wondering what he should do with it, as he doesn't know if the clone will go away if he speeds up its time. But this is when Kakashi grabs his leg from underground. Naruto then speeds up his own time to a certain degree that he just vanishes from Kakashi's palm, and he forces Kakashi to come out of the ground. Since Naruto does know time magic here, I actually do think he would have learned some other jutsu as well. Naruto then jumps into the air, performing a fireball jutsu that was supposed to be almost an exclusive Uchiha clan jutsu, but here Naruto knows it for some reason. And this was due to Minma's influence. Kakashi is then forced to use a water style jutsu to parry this attack, but then he feels something on his neck, as he's then bit by a spider that has a paralysis effect on it, as he then notices that his vision is becoming blurry and his movements are becoming a little slower. And they become even slower than that once Naruto slows down his time. Kakashi actually doesn't know how to react to this, as he's used to being, fighting at a full capacity. He's not used to having these handicaps. Sure, he was holding back at the beginning to gauge their power, but he slowly began to get serious and even pulled out a Sharingan. These kids were actually something serious. This is when Sakura would have grabbed the two bells, and Shino smiled, giving her a high five, as she would give one to Naruto as well. Naruto told them that they did great, and that he couldn't have done it without them, as the two of them tell Naruto the same. They say that his abilities are amazing as well. Naruto shrugged this off, and he undoes the time bind on Kakashi, allowing him to move at his regular pace, and he actually rewinds Kakashi's time, healing him so that he doesn't have the paralysis effect anymore. Kakashi would congratulate his team, saying that they have excellent teamwork for a new squad that doesn't really know much about each other, and he tells them that they'll continue going on missions tomorrow, so make sure to get some rest tonight. They would continue to go on missions for about a week and a half until Naruto gets fed up with them and actually wants to do a higher ranked mission that'll actually challenge him in a way. Kakashi could understand this, as Naruto's abilities are quite amazing, so it makes sense that he would get bored with just saving cats or doing chores around the village, as he could just use his time to speed things up. They would go to the Hokage's office, and here is where Hiruzen would give them the bridge builder mission. Naruto is the first to make eye contact with Tazuna once he walks in the room, or stumbles in because he's drunk. The two make an intense eye contact, and Tazuna actually walks over to Naruto, picking him up by his shirt. However, Naruto vanishes from his grasp and then holds up a hand to his back, as he then he would then say, "I can speed up the time on your bones and make them go away, turning your body to jello and killing you. Or I could just rewind the time on you, making you so young that you're a baby and you can't even talk anymore. Which one will it be?" Naruto, my fault. Kakashi actually stops Naruto and holds him back, telling him that they have a mission to do and he can worry about that later, as you can't attack the client until the mission is done. Naruto nods, waving this off, as the next day they would get ready and depart from the Leaf Village in the morning. As Naruto departs from the Leaf Village, or he's walking towards the gate, he sees Sasuke and his team, as he's on Team Kurenai, I believe, which is actually good because he is an Uchiha, and I would say that she would have helped him unlock his Sharingan or reawaken it by using her own genjutsu. This is when Team 7 would leave, heading out, as they would eventually encounter the Demon Mist brothers. Naruto is the first is the first to act, attacking them, and he freezes one of them in time as he attacks the other one. He kicks him, but the Demon Mist brother is able to block, and he actually counters. He stabs Naruto in his chest, but Naruto punches him in the jaw, sending him back into a tree, as he would then rush him once again with Shino and Sakura behind him. Naruto then uses another jutsu that he did learn. This was a water style jutsu, and it's it's like a hydro blast, and it sends the demon Chunin. I don't even know because they don't have names for me to remember, but it sends him through the tree and it breaks the tree, causing it to fall upon him as he then lays there. Naruto then goes back to the other one that's suspended in air and frozen in time, as he would then kick him right in his neck, leaving him unconscious. As this is when Kakashi would walk from the shadows, revealing that he wasn't dead at all. Naruto would smile at this, and Tazuna would be forced to confess, or he would have his time sped up to where he would die by Naruto. Tazuna, of course, doesn't want to die, so he easily confesses, and he tells Team 7 everything that's going on in the Land of Waves, and when they do get close, they encounter Zabuza, as Kakashi would still have the same battle as before, and now it's up to Team 7 to free him from the water prison, or the water bubble. No, yeah, it's called the water prison jutsu. Naruto looks at the clone of Zabuza, and would smile here. So, it looks like this is going to be a little bit of a tougher battle for me. Naruto rushes in, as the clone of Zabuza would then swing the blade. Naruto speeds up his own time, vanishing from the... what part of the blade would it be called? Yeah, vanishing from the edge of the blade that almost hit his shoulder, as he would then kick the clone in the face. As its head would then be knocked back, it would be slashed across his chest by Sakura with a kunai, as bugs would then surround its cut area from Shido, as this would render the clone useless, as Naruto then looks on towards Zabuza, who is still holding Kakashi. Naruto would then walk up, as he would place a time orb around both of them, and he would then reverse the time, which actually reverses the jutsu or undoes it, and it frees Kakashi, as Naruto would let Kakashi out, but he leaves Zabuza within the time orb, as he wonders what he should do with it. Zabuza isn't able to block the strong barrier that's holding him in, but his time is neither slowed or sped up. It's actually pretty regular right now, as Naruto doesn't know what to do, but he decides it's as good as ever to just speed it up, as Naruto speeds it up to quite some degree. He doubles Zabuza's age, although ice is sent at him, causing him to stop, but Zabuza still is double his original age, and Team 7 has to back away due to the large ice spikes that were coming at them. When they look back around, they see that Zabuza was now gone, and they have to wonder who sent the ice spikes at them. But Tazuna tells them that they need to make it back to his home, so they would continue on that way, and eventually they would make it there. This is where Naruto, he goes on his own training arc, trying to figure out if he can somehow figure out a way to manipulate ice the way that person did. This is when he encounters someone else. He encounters that woman that he encountered in the original, and he begins talking to her. But he smiles, saying he knew it was the person from before, as there's no recollection of this person even being within the Land of Waves. so they have to be an enemy. As this person begins to try to do an attack, Naruto captures them within a time orb, and then he brings the orb back to Kakashi, who is training Sakura and Shino. All three of them will be amazed that Naruto managed to capture the person that was using ice manipulation on them. Kakashi then tells them that they don't need any more information, so he could just get rid of this person. As Naruto would then nod, he would speed up the time on Haku, causing him to eventually die, as both of his teammates are in shock of this. They didn't know that Naruto had such an ability. They knew he could speed up the time that the pace of a person's movements, but they didn't know that he could take their time away like this. Naruto then walks off casually as nothing happens, as he could then hear laughter inside his head, but it wasn't Minma. Naruto thought it was, so he just played it off as if he didn't hear it and continued on. As the next day they would go to the bridge, and this is where they see some dead workers, but they see a very old Zabuza with even gray hair who was standing on the bridge. Naruto looked at him as he would then say, "This fight is all his," as he would rush at Zabuza, pulling out 2 kunai. Zabuza this time threw the blade that Naruto would then catch and throw it back at Zabuza, this time with with a more potent force, as he would speed up the pace of the blade. And then it would actually cut off Zabuza's arm because he can't move as fast as he thinks he can. Or thinks he can. I don't know why I said it like that. Zabuza isn't bleeding, and Naruto looks at him, as he would then figure out something else that he could do. Naruto holds up his hand, as he would then start another chant, as his not cloverless, I don't know why I was about to say that, as his coverless grimoire would appear, surprising everyone on the bridge. It was above Naruto's head, and it had many pages. Naruto flipped through it, as then a new attack would appear. This was, reality? No. I don't know, actually. I wanted to make something cool, but I couldn't think of anything on the fly, so let's just say he kills Zabuza. Yeah, I really did just try to make a cool move. The Land of Waves arc would basically end the same with the Great Naruto Bridge, and Team 7 would head back to the Leaf. And when they do arrive, they're told about the tuning exams. The tuning exams is very profitable, but Kakashi is wary about having Naruto participate, as he does see how easily he could kill other people, but he allows it anyway, not to take the chance away from all 3 Genin, as he does believe that Naruto has a good heart anyway. Team 7 would then prepare for their tuning exams in a couple days, and when the exams do arrive, they easily go through and they pass the first part of the exams, heading on next to the Forest of Death. This is where Naruto notices a lot of people from the Leaf are actually staring at him, as he has gained quite the reputation since he unlocked his Kekkei Genkai, basically. As Akko explained the rules, she eventually gets to Team 7 and hands them a scroll, as they would jump over the gate and begin heading in. Here, they really wouldn't be attacked by anyone, as they don't have Sasuke with them, so everything goes pretty normal, and they do get the scroll from another team that they defeat, as they would head onto the tower much earlier than they did in the original. When they do arrive, the preliminary matches are eventually still announced, and the matches will actually be the same. So the match that we're basically looking forward to here, that I'll go over, is Naruto versus Kiba and Akamaru. Naruto jumps down with his 2 teammates cheering him on, along with his sensei and many others, as Naruto wonders how he wants to defeat Kiba in this battle, but he decides to make a clone of himself, the regular clone jutsu. And I know some people are going to say that Naruto has too much chakra not to be able to do it, but here he can. You know why? Because it's a what if. That's why. Naruto makes one other clone of himself, and he would then look at Kiba and Akamaru, saying that he's evening the odds. This is where the battle would begin, and the 2 clones of Naruto, or the 2 Narutos, would rapidly teleport around Kiba and Akamaru, confusing them until they're both hit with a punch and a kick, simultaneously slinging them into opposite sides of the arena. Akamaru is knocked out, but Kiba is still able to go as he uses a fang over fang. But as he's about to make impact with Naruto, he poofs, revealing that he was a clone, and the real Naruto stops his time as he then begins punching Kiba over and over again. And he releases the time as Kiba falls over, feeling immense pain from all the attacks that had just happened in just a moment for him, but was actually a couple of seconds for everyone else who was watching. And these weren't just your regular punches. No, these were heavy hitters that Naruto was dealing. As later the preliminary matches would be concluded, and the month, was it a month? It was somewhere. The time that was given for training would still be given, as Naruto decides to train on his own until he runs into Jiraiya, the Toad Sani. Here, their training would go a little bit faster than it did in the original, especially with a smarter Naruto here, as I do think he'd be able to learn the Rasengan as well. But eventually the time limit for the training would be up, and the Chunin exams would continue. Naruto goes against Neji as usual, and he shows off a new attack. As the fight goes on, Naruto doesn't really use his time abilities. He's trying to get close to Neji, and he tries to perform Rasengan as fast as possible, but he notices he needs a little bit more time, which is actually kind of ironic. So in the next time, Naruto performs a Rasengan without Neji seeing, as he then would put a time orb around it, freezing its time, as Naruto would then throw this at Neji in close proximity, and on impact, Naruto releases the time orb around it, as the Rasengan would just explode on Neji's chest, sending him into the ground. And I really don't think that Guinea Neji could even take a full blast Rasengan from this type of Naruto. So it would instantly be knocked out and Naruto would be declared the winner. Hiruzen would be curious to what Naruto did, as he knows he used the Rasengan, but he used it in his own way, which is actually pretty impressive. Although I do think the Chunin exams would go the same, with the attack on the leaf eventually happening, but here Naruto is able to, let's use that ability. If you do remember from Black Clover, when Julius protected the whole kingdom with this one spell, Naruto basically does that here, reversing the sleep paralysis jutsu on everyone that was in the arena. So they would wake up and there's more ninjas here to help around the village. So that means there's more Jonin to take care of Gaara and Sasuke, as they're able to detain both of them, and they're actually able to help the Hokage as well, as Naruto would be there too. Hiruzen, I do believe, would still die here, and Orochimaru would be gone, as Jiraiya comes back to the village days later, and he gets Naruto to go with them. I do believe most of this would go the same, but I do want to change one thing about the end of Naruto here. And I'm just talking about, the basic end of Naruto, the Sasuke retrieval arc, basically. At the end of the Sasuke retrieval arc, in the Valley of the End, when Naruto and Sasuke are having their last battle, Naruto begins to rely more and more on the Kyuubi's power, until he's in front of the gate of the Nine Tails. But for some reason, the Nine Tails is free, and he's chained up. But this makes no sense. This is when from the shadows, Menma, along with the Nine Tails, would walk free, as Menma would look at Naruto, and he would say, "Time's up." As Naruto laid in the water and Sasuke stood above him about to strike him down, Naruto's hair would turn black, and his whiskers would get a little sharper, and when he opened his eyes, they were now red. As Naruto stood up, he ripped off his orange and blue jacket, or what was left of it, and looked at Sasuke. "Come on, Sasuke. Let's go to Orochimaru." Sasuke was confused by this, but Menma did explain his own plans for the future, and how he wants to change the world to make everything a little more equal for everyone. And this sort of aligned with Sasuke's goals, so he allowed Menma to tag along, as the two of them would then go on to betray the Leaf Village. But I guess that would be in a full movie of this, as this would only be half of the original story.